We're just going to wait a minute until we have more people pop on. Okay, perfect. Looks like people are on. Hi, everyone. I'm Sharon. I'm one of the online advisors on the Hub, so you might see me posting on the Hub and responding to questions and things like that. I'm glad you all joined us. This is comparing financial aid packages, which this is that exciting time of year when you're getting packages and acceptances, and it's really exciting and lots of big decisions for you guys. A couple of reminders. One thing is, if you need credit for this webinar from your teacher, then you need to not be more than 3 minutes late. If you're more than 3 minutes late, you will not get credit, and you cannot leave early. If you leave early, you won't get credit either. A second thing is, if you have questions at any time throughout the presentation, feel free to use this chat button. See, you should have a chat button, and if you push that, you can send a message. One thing you need to know is, if you want your question to be anonymous, you need to change the bottom of the chat box. So right now it typically says everyone, like your message is going to be shown to everyone on the webinar. If you want it to be an anonymous question, so only I see it and I can answer it for you, then you just need to change that to all panelists. If you type your question to all panelists, I'm the only one who can see it, and then you could be anonymous. We're also going to use this chat feature during the webinar for kind of a question, you know, like a which do you think is best kind of question. So that is how you use chat. So again, if you want to send your answer to everyone, you could send it to everyone. That's totally fine. But if you want your question or your answer to only go to me, so you're anonymous, just put all panelists instead of everyone. Perfect. And then the last reminder is, if you are joining this webinar for credit, and if you are calling in from the phone, so like if you're doing this, if this is a homework assignment for your teacher and you're not viewing this online, you're dialing in from the phone, like you dialed like 1-866, whatever, then I cannot see your name on the printout I get at the end. So if that's you, if you need homework credit and you're dialing in from a phone, you're just listening to the webinar on a phone, you just need to email me after. My email address is SBOWEN@studentsrisingabove.org. Email me, tell me your first name, your last name, and your phone number so that I can put you on the list for credit. My email address is SBOWEN@studentsrisingabove.org. Okay, perfect. Let's get started. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Share screen. Awesome. And then I'm going to stop the video so you can just see my screen. And then let's go. Here we go. Comparing financial aid packages. And this is tricky, like I said, so feel free to type in your questions at any point in that chat box. I can't see the chat box while I'm presenting, but I'll try to check it here and there so that we can get some questions answered. Okay, so comparing financial aid packages. So every college that accepts you is going to send you a financial aid package. And a package, by package, we just mean like a breakdown. And I'll show you an example in a minute. So we just mean like a list of loans, grants, scholarships, work study. That's all we mean by financial aid package. It's basically a letter with a detailed list and a bunch of numbers on exactly the financial aid they're giving you. So usually the school accepts you first, then later they send you a financial aid package. And you'll only get financial aid packages from schools that accept you. Okay, so in your package, like this detailed list of numbers, there's going to be grants and scholarships, which you know are the very best to have in there because that is free money. You do not have to repay it. You don't really have to work for it. You just kind of have to keep your grades up and do what you're supposed to do in school. So grants and scholarships are the best. Work study might also be in your package. Work study is also good. That means you have a job on campus. And so you earn money, and that money can either become your spending money, or it can go towards your bills, your tuition bills, or you can use it for textbooks, whatever. It can either go to you or it can go to your school bill. Work study can also be good. A lot of students really enjoy it because, especially when you're new on campus, You don't have to work that many hours at work study. You know, you can choose a reasonable number of hours for you personally, and it helps you kind of get settled into campus. So when you work a work study job, you're going to meet people, you kind of have a community, you kind of feel like you're part of campus. So that can be beneficial in that way too. Also in your package, there might be loans. If you have to take out a loan, you only need to take however much you need. So you do not have to take out whatever full amount they offer you. You can just set up a budget, I'll show you later, and decide what you need. If you do have to take out loans, subsidized loans are the best. You should choose those first if they're in your package, because they have less interest, and I'll show you about interest in just the next slide. Unsubsidized loans, you can take them if you need them, but first you should take the subsidized loans that you need, and then if you still need more, then take unsubsidized, because unsubsidized have more interest, so they're going to end up costing you more in the future. You don't have to be afraid of loans. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. A reasonable amount of loans is totally okay to get an education, and most of you probably are going to have to take out loans. There's not that many students who get a free ride. That's pretty rare, a full ride, I mean. So you don't have to be afraid of loans, but you only want to take out what you need, and you want to make sure they're reasonable amounts of loans. So what is interest? Interest is a fee that you pay to borrow money. So since you are borrowing the money for your student loan, in the meantime, before you pay it back, you're paying a fee to borrow the money. That's like the fee you pay because the bank is lending you the money to use it now. You're using it now. They don't have it in their account, so you pay them a fee to use it now until you pay it back. Interest is written like a percentage, like 5%. And the interest rate, like 5%, it multiplies by the total amount you have to pay back, and it continues adding up every month until you've completely paid off the loan. So the interest just kind of multiplies on itself, whatever that total is you haven't paid off, and then it keeps adding up and keeps multiplying until you finally finish paying off the loan. Does that kind of make sense? So the multiplying factor, it's, eventually, right, like you're paying not only the amount of loan you took out, but you're also paying interest on interest, kind of a thing. It adds up, whatever you haven't paid off, it continues adding up. So interest is just kind of part of finances. It happens for loans, credit cards, things like that. You just don't want to pay more than you have to. But again, you don't have to be afraid of it. Interest is a normal thing. You want to get the lowest percentage you can, and you don't want to pay more than you have to. So you don't want to take out more loans than you have to, and you want to pay them back as quickly as you can, and be kind of as budget savvy and frugal as you can, so that you don't end up paying a ton more than you have to. Okay, so here's this example financial aid package. So see how it's going to be kind of a letter. Sometimes it's in your portal, sometimes they mail it to you, they might email you and say, hey, your financial aid awards are in your portal, you can sign in and look at them. I think this one was on a piece of paper, so they can look a little bit different for different schools. You'll see usually at the top, most of the time, they have this part where it's telling you, here's your cost. So the amount you're going to be billed, like for tuition fees, room and board. So this is like the amount you have to pay the school. And then for your cost also, you're going to want to add in like your spending money, your books and supplies, however much it's going to cost you to get to that school, like plane tickets or whatever. And then this is your total cost of attendance. So your total cost of attendance is the money you owe the school directly. Like this is like your bill. Like you have to pay this straight to the school. You're going to be billed that much about. And then you also need to factor in these other things that you're going to need. Like you're going to need to buy books. You're going to need to have spending money. You're going to need to get to campus. That's your total cost of attendance here. So if you are getting a financial aid package and it does not have this cost of attendance part, you're going to need to figure that out yourself. Like last year, some of the CSUs did not put this cost of attendance real handy right there with everything. So in that case, you just have to Google like Chico State cost of attendance, and make sure you get to like a reputable web page like the financial aid department for the year you're looking at. So that would be like 2017, 2018. And they should have estimates there for cost of attendance. So if it's not in your letter, you just have to Google it and find it yourself. Okay, then the next part of the letter is all the money that this particular school is offering you as financial aid. So one thing to know is your financial aid is going to be different at every single school. So it can be different, like your Chico State financial aid can be different than your Sonoma State financial aid. Your UC Davis financial aid can be different from your UC San Diego financial aid. It's school by school individually, just depending on the school's policies and what resources they have and all that kind of thing. Okay, so they're going to list out like grants and scholarships here. They list them all out in detail for you. Loans, here's a subsidized one, here's an unsubsidized one. This school was not in California, but you would have Cal Grant here. If it was, typically, many of you would. And then here's work study down here too. So you can see here's all the money they're saying is your financial aid, like all the money they can give you as financial aid. And then the total awarded, so they'll usually break it down for you like this. Remember they said up here, here's your total estimated cost of attendance. Then usually they break it down again. Here's your total aid awarded. So one thing you want to pay attention to, there's two main things you want to pay attention to. One thing that you want to pay attention to is the gap between this number, your total aid awarded, and this number, your cost of attendance. So in this example, we're going to look at the gap between $66,715, that's your estimated cost of attendance. We want to know the gap between that estimated cost of attendance and this total amount awarded, which is $64,715. So you can see right away, there's a gap here of $2,000, right? $66,715 minus $64,715, $2,000. So if this was your financial aid package, right off the bat, you are needing to pay $2,000. That $2,000 could come from scholarships you've applied to. It could come from you working a summer job and saving money. It could come from your family, whatever. But right off the bat, here's a gap of $2,000 that the school is not giving you and you need to pay, which is fine. $2,000 is a pretty reasonable gap that you could earn working or saving money or applying to outside scholarships. The second really important thing to look for after that gap, as you look at different aid packages, is the amount of loans. So the loans in this package, see here's a total of $3,500 and $1,000, so $4,500 in loans. Again, that is a pretty reasonable amount. This is a pretty good financial aid package. So the important thing, the reason you look at those two things is because loans and the gap between the cost of attendance and your total aid, that is what you personally are going to have to pay kind of out of your pocket. So that's what you are going to have to come up with. The $2,000 gap, you're going to need to come up with pretty soon because your first bill is going to come due. You're not going to have work study yet. So you're going to need to come up with that $2,000 gap, hopefully over the summer or maybe into fall. But you're going to owe that. That's going to be on your bill. And like I said, you won't have work study yet. So you don't need the full $2,000, the very first bill probably, but you are going to need it pretty soon. And then the work study will kick in. You'll have more of that money to put towards future bills. And then the loans also. So even though you can borrow those now, you're going to have to pay them back later. So you can see loans are kind of still coming out of your pocket. That's something you're going to have to pay back as you graduate from college and get a job and you have like your first apartment, your real life and everything. You're going to have this monthly loan payment to pay back. So that's why we really like you to look at the gap in aid and the loans. The less you can have the gap and the less you can have loans, the better the package is. You don't have to be afraid. You're not looking necessarily for a gap of 0 or loans of 0, although that would be really nice if someone sent you that package. You just want to keep them reasonable for you personally. And we could talk a little bit more about that later. So let's keep on going and let's actually see why don't we just see real quick if we have any questions, because that's been a lot of information. So let me see if I can get, doesn't look like there's any chats yet. Okay, perfect. So let's keep on going. And we might answer your questions as we go on too. Okay, so what you're gonna do is, when you get these financial aid packages, like your letter, you're gonna use the SRA Hub Budget Builder tool, which if you sign on to the Hub, you click Tools on the left, I'll show you in just a minute, and you can then enter the information from your financial aid package in there to figure out how short are you or how much extra do you have. Now the tricky part is some things are going to be different school to school, and some things aren't necessarily written on that letter. So when you use the budget builder or a spreadsheet, however you want to do your budgets, you need to remember things like plane tickets and health insurance if you're going to need those. And then this is just telling you again, you're going to add up your loans and your unmet need, that gap of unmet need. That's how much you have to pay. So that's like out of your personal pocket. Lower loans and unmet need is a better financial aid package. So that's how you're comparing. Because the packages all kind of look the same. There's all these numbers. It can all look good. You just really got to look at loans and unmet need and try to aim for the lowest in those. So let me show you, like on this package here, there's a couple things. One thing is, in this package, this school is not in California. So this student, if they attended here, they were going to need plane tickets. So the travel amount estimated here might be correct, but the student might even, when they use the budget builder, they might even have had to make this higher. They just kind of have to price out, okay, like how much is a plane ticket to this particular school? How many do I think I'll need? Do I want to come home for Thanksgiving, winter break, spring break, summer? So you might have to go up or down on travel allowance. A lot of times with the UCs, you can go down on travel allowance, because if the school is pretty close to you and your parents are going to drive you, or you're going to like take a train ticket, you do not need $1,000. That's too much. Health insurance, see how there's nothing on here about health insurance whatsoever? So that can be sneaky. That's why I want you to know before you do your budget builder, because that can make a big difference from school to school. Health insurance usually is about $2,000-ish, maybe a little bit more every year. So you can see how that could really change your budget from one school to another. So in this particular case, like I said, this was an out-of-state school. It was not in California. The student who got this package, they were on Medi-Cal. So their Medi-Cal could not cover them outside of California. So they would have to pay the $2,000 for insurance at the school. So they would need to add it into their budget. So you can see how there's no $2,000 here for health insurance. So that then bumps this number up, let's say to $668,715. So now you could see the gap widens a little bit. Now we've got a gap of $4,000 plus $4,500 in loans. So you just don't want to overlook those things. You want to figure it out. So this student, if they had a different insurance, they could find out like, hey, could my family's insurance cover me at this school out of state? Or if you have Medi-Cal, you can usually make your Medi-Cal cover you at the school you go to. You just have to kind of be diligent about transferring your Medi-Cal to the new county and like doing all your paperwork and everything. You just want to figure that out and ask and make sure you have good, solid answers before you commit to a school. Because like I said, if you commit to a school, then you have that $2,000 extra dollars popping up in there that you weren't expecting that could really throw your budget off. Okay, so I'll show you the budget builder in a minute. Remember, the important thing is you're adding up loans and that unmet need, like that gap between the cost of attendance and your financial aid. So what we want to do now, this is the participation part. So what I want you to do is take a look here and remember what we just learned about looking at loans and the gap of unmet need. I want you to think about which of these packages do you think is the best, and type it into chat when you have an answer. So you can just type A, B, or C. If you got these three packages, which one is the best financially? Which is the best financial aid package where it makes the most sense for you financially and it's the least amount of money for you to pay out of your pocket. So take a minute, type it into chat when you have your answer. Give you just a minute here to kind of look at it. Package A, package B, package C. Okay, let's see if people have typed into chat. Awesome. We've got people, oh, everyone is saying package B. So that is correct. Yes, package B is the best. And then, okay, and then we've also got a question here. So it is true. So the person is asking, what if the college says it won't give you your financial aid package until late May or until you send a final transcript because you might be an AB 540 student? How can you make a decision by May 1st without a financial aid package to compare? Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. That is frustrating. I would try, I mean, one thing you could try is you could try to advocate for yourself and say exactly that, you know, like, I can't make a decision by May 1st without seeing my financial aid packages. Because ideally, what you really want to do, and we try to tell students, like, please, please, please don't make a decision on what college to attend until you can see all of your financial aid packages. So you want to be able to see all the packages from the schools you're considering and compare them side by side, and then choose a school that you think fits you personally, financially, academically, socially, everything like that. That also, while we're on the subject, is another reason to make absolutely sure that you are logging into your portals every day and looking at the to-do list, the holds, the student center, your application status. Look at all of those kind of things. Read your school email as well as your personal email, because if the financial aid department is asking for paperwork from you and you are not giving it to them, that's going to delay your financial aid package. So last year I had a girl get a financial aid package on like April 30th, which of course was no good at all. It didn't help us at all because she hadn't handed in stuff. So her package was delayed. Okay, so then in response to your question, so I would try to advocate for yourself. I would say, can you at least give me an estimate of my financial aid package? This is very important, especially as a AB 540 student. It really depends on what the school is giving to you, because you are not going to get Pell Grants or federal financial aid. You might not have work study. You can't have federal work study. Some campuses do have non-federal work study, so you could ask and see if they could include that in your package. But so it's really important for you. No, I would be hesitant to say yes to any school without seeing your package. So I would try to advocate, ask if you can at least see an estimate, ask if there's anything else you can do in the meantime. I haven't actually, in my work with students, I haven't had a school say that to AB 540 students. I've had them send packages just like all my other students. So I would see if you could advocate for yourself. I would try hard to get at least estimated numbers before you have to make your decision. And I guess the other thing is too that you could, well, I guess that's not really helpful. You should try to get an estimate from the school, because just because your friend got a package that was good or someone you know got a package that was good, that doesn't necessarily mean yours will be the same. It just depends on so many different things that the schools use. So you can't really estimate that way. And let me see too, if I have other answers to that, I can email you also. I'll keep thinking and see if we have any other suggestions. Okay, so yes, package B is the best. You are all correct. The reason it is the best is because first we look at the gap. 38,000 is the cost of attendance. 38,000 is the total financial aid. So 0 gap here. And then how many loans? So you also had a 0 gap here, 37 and 37. But look, in this package, your loans are only $2,000. That's the entire amount of loans right here in package B, $2,000 in federal loans. Whereas in this one, okay, your gap is 0, but your loans are $7,000. So $2,000 is better than $7,000. This is a better package. This one here, look, you've got a gap of $4,000 and then you've got $9,000 in loans. So even though it's the cheapest school to attend, the tuition, the cost is the lowest, it's the worst package financially, it's the worst financial choice because you have so much $9,000 in loans plus another $4,000 to cover by yourself. Okay, cool, let's keep on going. There are ways to bring down your cost. So some things you can do are, when they show you that cost of attendance, like I showed you at the beginning of that financial aid package, that is just estimates. That's based on like an average student. So depending on what school it is, you may be able to make choices. Like some small private schools, it's like they're all doubles and you're all on the same meal plan. So maybe you can't change those. But most schools, you could request a triple room instead of a double. That can save you like $1,500 right there. You could also potentially get a smaller meal plan. Now with meal plans, you gotta really be honest with yourself. We do not want any of you, obviously we don't want you going hungry. We want you to be perfectly healthy and have plenty to eat, as much as you want and need. But do be honest with yourself. So here's the thing about meal plans, right? Like you're paying for them. So let's pretend that you hate getting up early and you never eat breakfast. You're just not hungry in the morning. You don't even like breakfast. You do not need to pay for a meal plan that gives you 3 meals a day because you pretty much know you're probably never going to go eat breakfast. Or maybe you do like breakfast, but maybe you're like, you know what? I would be perfectly happy with like an oatmeal packet or a granola bar or whatever. I can buy those groceries cheaply, get them on sale, get generic brands. And so I'm really fine without breakfast. Like I would actually rather just have a quick thing in my dorm room, go on to class, and then I'll eat lunch and dinner at the dining hall. So just be honest. Think about like, can you get by with a smaller meal plan? If not, that's okay. You can try to cut costs elsewhere. But if you can, don't pay for meals you don't need. Just pay for the ones that you actually do need. You could also start with one meal plan and then you can usually switch to at the end of the quarter or semester. Buying and renting used textbooks can save you a ton of money compared to just going to your campus bookstore. I'll show you that in a second too, right after this slide. And then like we talked about earlier, see if your current health insurance can cover you at college. You want to be very thorough with this. You want to make sure you completely understand if your family's insurance can cover you at the specific college. If not, how much is the school plan? And if you are not going to use the school insurance and you're going to use your family's, make sure you understand where to go. Like, can you go to the student health center or do you need to go to like a Kaiser off campus or whatever, which is totally fine. You can probably make it work either way. You just want to make sure you understand before you get hurt or sick, because that can totally happen. You want to make sure you're going to the right place. Okay, so a couple things here in the hub. Remember when you sign in, here's the tools section. We'll look at the budget builder in a minute. Remember, if you click on resources, you can search in the search box. So like here we searched appeal. Well, we haven't gotten to appeals yet. That's later in the presentation. But if you search cost of attendance, here's 10 ways to cut your cost of attendance. So triple, meal plan, groceries. Here's a bunch of ideas for saving money on textbooks. And I think there's a bunch of websites at the bottom of this article too. Don't have a car or pet. Those are both pretty big expenses that you really don't need. You know where the textbooks are? Oh, here they are. So these guys, half.com, eCampus, Swapbooks. This one here, ISBN new, is pretty cool. You just type in the number of the book, like the serial number of the book, and then it compares its prices on a bunch of different websites. So that's pretty handy. These appeals, here's an article you can search for what to do when a financial aid package is disappointing, that kind of walks you through. You know, here's what means it's disappointing: if you have to take out too many loans, if it leaves a huge gap, what amount of loans is too much. Again, it depends on you personally. We try to aim at SRA for like $3,000 in loans a year is pretty okay for most students. When you get up to 5, that's kind of getting to be a little bit much in loans per year, but you could still do it. And once you get above that, you got to be real careful. Like, are you sure that this is the best match for you and the best decision for you? If your packages are disappointing, you can appeal, which we'll talk about in just a second. Let's go back to our spreadsheet here. Oh, I should have shown you the budget builder. So let's go budget builder. You're just going to click on tools. There is the budget builder. You can make a budget for each different school. So you're going to put like create new budget. You can call this Chico State. And then you're just going to type in. You're going to type in what it says in the cost of attendance or what you've researched if it wasn't there. Type in what you think you need monthly for spending money, like your phone bill, toiletries, clothes, things like that. Try to be honest so it can be accurate. How much do you need to get to that campus? You want to go out and have fun. And then down here, you type in the things in that financial aid letter. You just put them all right in. And then it'll be showing you as you go along, you know, like here, you're going to end up with $1,000 extra, or it'll tell you you might be this much short. Then you can also figure out if you're ending up with extra, you can take out some of the loans. Like you don't have to take out all the loans they give you. You don't have to accept all the loans they give you. You could just accept the amount you need. So you can make it go down so that you have fewer loans to pay back. Okay, cool. Moving right along. You can also, we advise keep applying to scholarships. Remember, there's the SRA scholarship list. If you log into the hub, click on the financial aid tab, and then over on the right side of the page, it says SRA scholarship list. You can open that up, either bookmark it or save it to your drive, like add to your drive, and then keep revisiting it because we update it frequently. So keep applying to scholarships. That money is really, really, really going to help you out, help you take fewer loans. Also, you can get a job and save money. So especially over the summer, it's great to work and save money. Or maybe you can do something like babysit during the school year, something that kind of, maybe you could even do your homework while you're babysitting. You can do things like that, but you're earning money and saving it to pay those college bills so you don't have to take so much in loans. If your aid package is unrealistic, you can appeal it. You can email within 24 hours of receiving the package. You can see examples and tips on the SRA Hub. I'll show you those in a minute. The tricky part is you only want to appeal to schools that you truly want to attend. So you don't want to appeal every single bad financial aid package that you get, because if it's not a school you're truly interested in going to, if you appeal the package and then they give you what you want, you probably should say yes to them. Does that kind of make sense? So you're only going to be appealing maybe one or two schools. It's schools that you truly want to attend, you think you're a good match for, and if they gave you more money, you would say yes to them. That's where you're appealing. Also, it helps to, you definitely want to be a good match. So if you're totally underqualified for the school, you probably don't want to appeal there. And then also, like, if you have new information to bring to the table, definitely do so. Like if your parent lost their job, or your living situation has changed or something like that, for sure bring that to the table. The best time to appeal is within 24 hours of getting that package. So like I said, you should be checking your portals every single day. If you get a package and it's disappointing, write your appeal letter and send it off within 24 hours. That's the best time to do it. It gives you the best chance at more aid. So let me show you those resources on the hub here. This is the one that walks you through what if it's disappointing. And then this one, 5 tips for a successful financial aid appeal. You've got a sample letter down here that you can use as an example. You definitely want to make it for you personally, because obviously if a financial aid office gets this letter from 20 students, they're going to know that you guys all kind of like, you know, borrowed it from somewhere. So it's totally okay for you to use it as a sample and an inspiration, but definitely you need to change it to match you personally and just use it as a guide. Don't use it like a template that you're copying and pasting, and tells you exactly what to do. You know, here are some tips to consider. Be specific what you ask for, be direct, show your enthusiasm, show why you want to go to that specific school. Don't be general, be very specific. And ask for what you're wanting. So if you want to change some of the loans to work study, ask for that. Does that kind of make sense? Because you don't just want to say like, I want more money, then maybe they just give you more loans and then that doesn't help you very much. Okay, cool. So let's go back. Let's start my video back up here. Let's stop sharing my screen and let's see, does anybody else have questions? If anybody else has questions, go ahead and type them into the box now. I will keep researching for the person who asked about AB 540 students and needing a transcript and them giving it to you in May. Let me see what else I can find out about that, and then I'll email you if I have more information. Any other questions? I know that's a lot of information. Remember, on the Hub, you can always click email an SRA advisor and write to us, and you can kind of tell us the detailed breakdowns and what your decision is and all of that kind of stuff, and we can try to help guide you through it. You can use all our articles on the Hub. There's many more than what I showed you. So like at the bottom of the articles, there's all those links to help you connect to similar articles to help you. But yeah, let us know. This can be, it's a big decision. It's very important. We want you to be at the school that fits you best personally, financially, academically, and we're happy to help talk you through that if you get stuck or if you're not sure. Okay, cool. I don't see any more questions, so we can end there. Email us if you want to, or post to the feeds if you want to. We look forward to helping you. Thank you all for attending. Hope you guys have a good rest of the night, and I'll see you on the Hub. Okay, bye.